This video is sponsored by the Design Mechanism, the makers of Mythras. Mythras is a registered trademark of the Design Mechanism Inc., used with permission. All rights reserved. just stand by for actor. Right, I just have to have a quick check and make sure that everybody is in the right place. Because I just need to, because it looked like, sorry, Hazra, it looked like you were actually playing Bartleby then. Which would have been.
Who do I get to play?
You were playing Hazra, which meant you would need a funny accent. Hello, everyone. Welcome back. We have been playing with experience rolls for the past half an hour, etc. And we have actually, if you were with us last week, you would have realised that the adventure finished. The instant at the Lonesome Bridge actually came to an end. The party gained some experience rolls, and they have used those rolls to increase their percentage skills. And we did that off stream because we wanted to get straight into the adventure today, because we have someone new coming along to play the Flex character, the Benjamin character, Ben, that some of you might remember from past adventures, but if not, then you will soon get to know him once again. We're going to start off a brand new adventure, and we will be back in Lindo. The party have travelled back to that capital city, and they have trained and used the experience points, so they are all ready to go. Nobody has learnt any new spells, so the time delay is about a couple of weeks. Just to remind players, your magic points will be up to full. Bartleby, your devotion pool will also be up to full, and you will of course have your luck points set up. They will be refreshed as well. So I'm going to allow the players an opportunity to say who they are and who they will be playing tonight. If we make it short and sweet, people, then that would be brilliant, and then we can get on with the adventure. So if Bartleby, if you start it off, and then while you're doing that, I can just check the sound levels that we can hear everyone. So yeah, Bartleby, off you go.
Sounds good. And I am Mr. Pickles, and I play Bartleby Fumus, who is our team's theist. It's like a cleric in most other systems. He's a healer, he's a helper, he knows all sorts of things about the city we're in, about history, monsters. He's a helper of people in the slums. He's friends with the guards, because everybody trusts Bartleby. I'll pass on the mic. Chuck it at Medivac.
Thank you, that's 2 weeks in a row. Hi everybody, I'm Medivac and I play Hazra Khan. He's a nomad from the steppes. He's the go-to forager, tracker, survivalist. He's perfectly at home in the outside. He doesn't like being in cities, but he does his best to put up with it for the group's benefit. He uses a short spear and a scimitar. Last time he saw the Flex character Ben, he had a normal arm, and at the end of the adventure, Hazra's arm was all blackened from touching the thing that Benjamin took with him. And with that, I shall pass on to Captain Drew.
All right. Hey everybody, I'm Captain Kangaroo. I am playing Cyrus today. He is the sorcerer newbie of the group. So still trying to figure out what he is and how his personality is, but I think I've kind of got a general idea. If I'm slow or sounding weird today, it's because my internet's down. I'm using a hotspot, but from there, hopefully, it's not noticeable. From now, I'm going to throw the mic at Stalwart, who's himself.
Hi, I'm Kyle. I'm going to be playing Angus. According to the actually, I'm going to be playing Ben. Yeah, very very excited to see Mythras. Been watching a few of Inwell's videos on Mythras rules. I'm still plenty lost, so I'm going to take cues from our experienced players. Try to pick up on some of this and hopefully bring Ben some awkwardly reemergence humor into this. Who knows what he'll be like next week? But I'm feeling this week that he's feeling a bit.
Fantastic. Yeah, I managed to change everything apart from the overlay, which I haven't managed to do. So I'll get better at that. So yeah, so the party have returned to their main city, and if you remember, they all live in the city of Lindo. It's a capital city. Well, most people live in it, apart from Hazra, who has a little cottage. Can I call it a cottage?
It's a very well hidden cottage that everybody seems to find. Yes.
Yeah. So it's a little cottage, and he has that out a short way out of town. People like Sorceress Cyrus lives at the Order's housing and their guild hall, and Bartleby and Ben will live in the church as well, and that was Ben's last place of worship. He was very keen to be a follower of Amriel, so currently he's just enjoying the free lodgings and actually free food as well. Now, the party returned after a rather interesting incident last adventure when the party, well, several merchants, guild merchants, actually lost their lives. And there was a little bit of a unfortunate occurrence. Okay, but since then, things have eventually started to settle down. Things are sort of like getting back to normal. The guild merchants lost several of their important traders in the last battle with the robed figures. Now, investigations, just to let the party know, you have obviously started to make inquiries about who these people are. Who could these robed people be? And you've revealed that they're actually members of an organization called the Cult of Eternal Power. And there's little is known about these group of individuals. They are animists, so they actually worship or deal with spirits or souls, and they worship the spirits as if they were deities, gods and goddesses. They're a very secret cult, and they only reveal themselves according to law when the need arises. The cult often takes very important roles in society. So even somebody like Count Bastian, who is the leading monarch of Lindo, could actually be a member of the Cult of Eternal Power. It's not known who they are or who is in their ranks, but they actually do exist. And the party is probably, after your last encounter, somewhat concerned about where they are and who they could be. Rumours exist that many important roles within Lindo are actually members of the Eternal Power. They actually have dual personalities. But enough of cults and eternal power. You are back to chilling in the Hairy Hobgoblin. The Hairy Hobgoblin, as you are aware, is your favourite place to be. I'll just quickly move certain people around. Let's get rid of Hengist, and let me bring on Ben. He'll be a little bit big, but we will scoot him down like that. Yeah, so you are chilling in the hairy hobgoblin, catching up. You probably met Ben at the church, Bartleby, and then brought him round to the hairy hobgoblin to meet your colleagues, your fellow adventurers. And you are not actually just sat in the hairy hobgoblin doing nothing. The guild merchants that you worked for last time are seeking to establish new trade routes. They really want to start to make Lindo the centre of trade, and they are expecting a merchant from Airwood. Airwood is a lumber-rich town southwest of Lindo. It's probably a town or slightly bigger than a village, but it is a town that probably lacks the civilized nature of Lindo. However, they are rich in lumber, and any of you who remembers traveling southwest from the city of Lindo, you remember that you went that way to find the Library of the Mystics. So that road from south west is bordered by the coast on one side, and then a rich forest on the opposite, which then blankets the base of the towering mountains beyond. However, the trader was meant to meet with the guild throughout the day. His name is Zach Nald, and he hasn't arrived. He hasn't arrived at all. And the guild have waited around with you because they wanted to sort of like involve you in the contract that was going to be delivered and created. However, Zach never arrived. And so the guild has said to you to go off to the hairy hobgoblin and stay there. Night has fallen. And what is going to happen, the guild has left word at the city gates that when Zach arrives, they will bring him to the hairy hobgoblin in order to meet you. Apart from that, you've been sat here for quite a while. Whatever you normally drink has been laid in front of you, and Basil Earless, the faithful tavern dweller, the owner of the hairy hobgoblin, is doing his best to keep everybody cheerful and happy. And so, yeah, so I will pass over to you guys, sat round, if you would like to discuss anything about the last adventure or anything about the where you've been, what you're doing, then it's completely up to you. Okay, I'll hand it over for you.
Told you. See, Ben, this is exactly what can happen when you come with us on contract signing. Crazy, interesting things. You never know what's going to happen. Contract signing.
I'm sorry, Bartleby. What did you say? How did I get here?
Oh,
Yeah, wait,
you were
who's
at
this
the
guy?
church and- sorry, guys. This is Ben. We actually met up on the road. We were just going to. I saw him back in the church for the first time in years.
Is this one of your altar boys?
No, I believe he's more with Church of Maroth, right, Ben?
Yes, I am real.
Yeah, he didn't really seem like your type anyway.
Sorry.
So here's a question. Here's something. I'm glad. I'll lift up my chalice of wine. I'm glad that we survived, but to us and all that stuff. But who are we gonna blame for all those people dying?
It's quite simple. The guild masters were completely out of their god. They should not have been doing what they were doing there and trying to build a village on such a hub of power. So-
Yeah,
so
no,
they-
I
they-
agree. I just feel like someone's going to blame somebody, or we can take advantage of the situation and try to maybe profit ourselves off these people's deaths. Talking about dangers of cults and whatnot. I don't know. What do you guys think?
Well, I agree that somebody has to take the blame, but we know we did our job, and we tried to tell the guildies to, what was what, and they would not listen to us, and they died.
Yeah,
So,
no,
as I
and
said-
honestly, it could have been karma on them, being kept trying to lower our pay, but still, who's to say? Who's to say, right?
No, every door opens to a new opportunity. But
Yeah.
money is just money, it's more about
money
more
is
about balancing.
money.
Yeah, it's all about balancing the nature, though, making sure everything is in its proper place.
You know what makes it nature better?
I'm going
Money.
to take
Money makes nature better.
Cyrus, you're a funny man. You make me smile every time I see.
Like you too, man. Like you too. Anyone want a refill? I'm gonna try to get the waitress come by and refill my chalice.
There's so Basil Earless is the proprietor of the Hairy Hobgoblin, but there's two sort of like rather busty barmaids. One's called Beth, and she's the one who normally comes round and serves your table, and you four, all of you, or anybody who sits at the table, are well known in Lindo for your your professionalism as ventures. You are courageous. You are out there fighting the evils of the world. And many people in the Hairy Hobgoblin look up to you and actually want to be with you or one of you. And Beth is one of those, a barmaid who is not happy in what she's actually doing at the moment and really wants to be out there donning the armor and battling away with you. Sadly, she probably lacks a lot of intelligence and power or even muscle, but she is good at her job, and she comes over as you signal Cyrus. Cyrus, does she know your name? Will you have told?
For sure.
Yeah,
she for sure knows my name and probably my address too. So
yeah, and she sort of like comes over, and she's sort of like, she's got that corset on where everything is pulled in and everything protrudes at the right place, and she's got in her one hand several tankards, all sort of like linked into her hand, carrying them all at the same time, and a tray in the other one, and she sort of like comes over to you, and she sort of like sidles up to you and almost like invades your personal space, which Cyrus probably enjoys in any case. And she sort of like looks down at you and she goes, "Now, Mr. Cyrus, what can I do for you?"
You know what you can do for me.
She goes, "Oh, Cyrus, you are so naughty, you know."
You can if you want, you can top me off and also maybe fill up my glass too.
Well, I know that Basil is saving some leftover underneath. Shall I see whether or not I can get some for you?
Oh, I think you could get away with it? Yeah. Yeah, just for me.
She leans forward, and you notice that as she comes a little bit closer, that her breath is not the best. Dental hygiene is not something that Beth actually prides herself in, and there's several sort of like missing or blackened teeth as she smiles and comes very close to you, and there's that whiff of bad breath. Let's see whether or not you actually resist turning away as she gets close. Roll your endurance.
Okay.
Which is always good.
It's always been top notch endurance. This I have.
be when you get your
Will it
one.
be the
Oh!
oh,
Right, two things.
Love it.
The first thing, you need to take your fatigue off, because your fatigue is still on.
All right. Yeah.
So put that
Yeah,
down to normal. And the other thing is you just need to change from Captain Kangaroo to your to Cyrus, so it comes up with that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and obviously you have a critical success there. So you actually managed to resist turning away from her as she sort of like gets close to you, and her bad breath sort of like wafts over you. Is there anything you would like to do? I'll let you have an action with that critical success.
Hold on, give me one second. I need to change from winded to fresh. Okay.
Yeah.
I rolled a hard on that one. All right. So yeah. You know what? My favorite thing is when I see you from afar, it's like beauty to me. It's like seeing a sunrise in the distance. Can you go back and see if maybe you can give me a drink and maybe I can watch from a distance?
Oh, Mr. Cyrus, you are so nice to me. I've often been compared to something blocking out the light as I rise over the tables. Yes, I am
like a true mountain range.
Yeah, I'm like a mountain sun, just blossoming and sending my warmth through everyone. I'll be back in 2 ticks, she says, and heads off to the bar. And I would like you all to make perception rolls. So your perception is in a standard skill. So if you go down and you'll find perception, and there'll be a little dice next to it, and you just press it. You're looking to get a standard success, which is the middle one. If there's ever a star next to the success that I've said, then that's a critical. If there's an exclamation mark, then that's a fumble, and things adjust accordingly. So so everybody but Bartleby. Bartleby, do you wish to use any luck to re-roll your dice, or are you just going with it?
I'm gonna just go with it because Cyrus made him feel uncomfortable, so he's focusing down on his food.
Yeah, okay then. So you sort of like Bartleby sort of like looking down and sort of like probably just swirling around his water or anything, and the rest of you hear Annalyn. And Annalyn, as you can see, is sat on his normal table over here. This is where he normally sits. And he seems to be in deep discussion with a rather rotund gentleman. And if you remember, Annalyn is an alchemist, sorry. He's a potion maker. If you remember, you went off and actually got some... you met his aunt or his grandma, and you also brought some herbs back for him. And even above the noise of the hairy hobgoblin, you actually hear, apart from Bartleby, the conversation between Annalyn and this rather rotund gentleman. And Annalyn is youthful and boyish and very matter of fact. And the rotund man sort of like leans forward and says, "So, are you sure they will be removed?" And Alan says, "Oh, yes. A couple of dabs now and again. And believe me, you will not realise it will look as good as new. So it will take them all away. Yes, every single one. You just keep dabbing them on and they will go in a week or so." "A week? I've got to live with these warts for a week? Well, it was not me who, shall we say, gone behind your wife's back." Well, yes, but I didn't know. I mean, who would have believed that she was infected? Well, it does not matter. Believe me, this ointment will cure and remove every single wart on your body if you would allow it to. Well, I hope it does. And yes, and Annalyn sort of like hands over an ointment bottle and sort of like has his leaves his hand open. And there's some coin that is passed between the two of them. And Annalyn smiles and pockets the money and says, "No, don't you worry. It is well worth these 50 silver pieces, believe me. Well, I don't get much in the bottle. No, just dab. You just need to dab, that's all. No pouring. And I don't consume it then. No, don't consume it. Just dab it. And he sort of like gets up rather clumsily and makes his way out. And Annalyn sort of like, is any on the body in the table demonstrating that you have heard the conversation or not?
As you will, because this is the most strangest conversation he's heard, and he'll be just staring with the look I've got now at Annalyn going.
And Annalyn sort of like sees you and sort of like does that wonderful way of slightly doffing his hat, even though he hasn't got a hat to doff, and smiles and pretends to count the coin in his hand before he pockets it. And then just as that happens, Beth returns, Cyrus, with your alcohol, plus what appears to be some kind of ribs. You're not too sure. They seem to have meat on them. They seem to be quite substantial ribs, but you're not too sure what animal they actually come from. Hazra, if you would like to roll your law nature as a hard, I will be able to tell you what they actually come out.
I got on a hard. I got a 14 out of 20.
Yeah, so you actually notice what these ribs are from. They look quite substantial, and you notice that they've been snapped. So the whole rib has been snapped into two separate pieces of bone, and you think that these are probably from some kind of maybe a horse or an oxen, something rather like Brutus that you would be familiar with.
As you will look over the side, say that is good meat. You enjoy that. She has served you well.
I'll look at Beth and I just look at her and say, "You always know how to satiate my appetite."
Oh, surely, Mr. Cyrus. You eat up. I don't want a scrap of meat left on those bones. You won't believe what I had to do to get those for you.
I nod and thank her. And when she turns to leave, I give half of my ribs to Medevac. And then continue drinking my drink. I was kind of listening to the person behind me. I was wondering, as I'm drinking, if I can stand up and approach him.
You certainly can.
What was his name again?
Annalyn.
Annalyn.
I'll put
you, Annalyn. I'll just stand up, look at him, and then gesture towards the seat in front of him, as in to say, as a gesture, may I sit?
And he's sort of like, he deals with the person that he's doing some business with at the moment. And he sort of like, as that person gets up and walks away, the chair becomes available and you can go along and sit in the chair next to him. This is where he has his clientele. Yeah.
I don't think we've met. I'm Cyrus. You are?
And he sort of like looks at you and sort of like says, "My name is Annalyn. I am an alchemist of extraordinary skill and aptitude. I can make anything happen, anything remove."
Sorry, I've already heard your sales pitch.
How can I help you?
You're probably the only alchemist I've seen here.
I am the only one in Lindo.
That's good. I found the right guy, hopefully. I'm not really interested in your wares, but I am interested in your services. For a small price, I was wondering, I have a bottle. It was an attempt to poison me and my comrades. I was wondering, maybe you could tell me a little bit about the poison. Maybe if your knowledge is substantial enough, that maybe you might even tell me where some ingredients may came from. I can figure out.
I am more than happy to conduct business with you, Mr.
Cyrus.
Pray tell me,
I'll
I'll
look into. Sorry, go ahead.
Are you a sorcerer?
Oh, you have a keen eye. Of course I am.
Yes.
Oh, the Order of the Phoenix, of course.
Yes, I was talking to one of your superiors.
Oh, really?
Not the other day. She was in here when I think a couple of days ago. She was in passing the time of day with me, and I'm sure your name came up.
Oh, really? Well, it makes sense. I'm a pretty important character in the Order. So
I
yeah, it
think
makes sense.
she told me that she was above you.
Yeah, above me in the bunks. Usually, people below me in stature have to go in the higher bunks at the.
I know she definitely mentioned power. She definitely mentioned power. Something about having more power in her little finger.
Yeah, that makes sense. She's a. We had to pick her up from the street. She was a little pigeon before. You know, one of those little birds.
A pigeon? A polymorphed?
Probably not, no. She's a very confident but very delusional. But we like to accept even the silliest of people. Anyways, back to
yes. She
back
said
to
very similar things about you as well.
That's on her. Jealousy can be quite dangerous. Anyways, back to the bottle. I look into my sack and pull out a bottle of what looks like wine, and say, "I'll pay a small fee to see if you can figure out the ingredients of this apparent poison."
Of course.
But I just, take your time. Pretty sure I'll see you back in here some other time. But
oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Yes. I'm afraid it's money up front.
What are you going to charge? Or
well,
how much would this cost for you?
If you'd like to roll, do you have a commerce skill at all?
I do have a commerce.
Yeah, so roll your commerce skill and we will oppose each other and then see whether or not he gets it for a good deal or not.
Can I do? I'm going to use one of my luck rolls.
Okay then, so just for people to know, every character has a number of luck points. Luck points are for the session, and you can use a luck point to either re-roll a score, reverse the digits in the score, or get somebody else to re-roll, i.e. me. So Cyrus is going to use a luck point to re-roll to see whether or not he can get below 36. This is when I say, yet again, I'm hoping for a fumble. But no, there's no fumble. And he sort of like says, yes, he says 100 silver pieces will be fine. And you sort of like think, oh yeah, that seems a good price. Sure. And you sort of like hand over your coinage to Annalyn, who pockets it, thinking that he's had a really good evening so far. And as this transaction is going on and everybody is busy talking, the door of the tavern bursts open. It's one of those things that the door bursts open so quickly and with so much force that the door actually goes back on its hinges and bangs against the side. And at that point, a hush comes over the hairy hobgoblin as everybody looks towards the doorway, where you see in the doorway stood a rather bedraggled but well-dressed young man. You figure he's about late teens, early 20s. He seems to be dressed as if he's been travelling. He doesn't seem to have any armour on. He seems to have a dagger or something like a short sword at his waist. And he sort of like almost stands in the doorway and looks around as everybody sort of like turns and looks at him. And rather self-consciously, he sort of like makes his way over to the bar where Basil is, and he sort of like whispers something to Basil, and Basil points you out, all four of you, and the table at the table. And as the tavern comes back to normal and everybody starts the normal hubbub of a noise, the guy comes along and stands by the table and looks at you all and says, "Hello, I have been told to meet you here."
Zach.
Yes, I am Zach. We had a slight unfortunate travelling incident arriving here, but we have arrived relatively safely. I apologise for my tardiness.
Oh, that's fine. Before you tell us everything, let me just hey, Cyrus, over here.
I don't know whether or not
Yeah,
Cyrus
yeah.
is.
Okay, no, I was muted. All right. I look back and notice that the person probably waiting for is back, so I ask for my leave and I head back to the table.
Yeah.
And now that we're all here, do tell, inform us. On.
Well, I have been told by the city guards to meet you here. I think you are representing the merchants.
Right.
Yes, we are.
Right. So, have we got lodgings here?
You should have lodgings here. I believe it's been set up. Those who are representing.
Yeah, we have plenty of places he can stay at. But exactly, what are what is your purpose here?
I am traveling with my business partner, and we have come from Airwood, and we are here to formally sign a contract with the guild merchants of Lindo. When we arrived at the gate, I was told to come here to meet you all.
Out of game, does one of us have the contract on us, or are we waiting for the merchants in the morning to come by? And
It'll probably happen in the morning.
all right, then Bartleby would say, you can rest for the night. It's somewhat late enough that Iris is much. And I believe the merchants we're representing will be here in the morning to sign contracts with you.
It'll sign contracts with me. Well, probably not me, probably my business partner.
Right, sorry. I'm not a merchant necessarily. I'm of the church. Here to make sure things go smoothly.
Right. I think it would be quite a good opportunity for you to meet my business associate, the person that my business partner. Maybe now would be a good time to meet him. He is, shall we say, he has the majority of the shares. I am but an apprentice, even though I do the majority of the work. Yes, he has gone forward and to find the warehouse which we had bought in advance.
Sounds good to me.
Let's go meet him.
This is exciting, Ben. Come on, go.
I'm sorry, I'm just very excited. All this movement and talking. I'm sorry.
Yes,
he's also an apprentice.
It's like favoring. He's like favoring the injury again.
So you are an apprentice like me. You will know the hardships that we go through. Always having to do the majority of the work for very little coinage or wage. But hopefully, we shall inherit. We shall, once our masters have passed or been dispatched. Maybe we will gain the upper hand. We will own the business, etc. Yes, and while Zach is talking, you notice that he seems to be slightly distracted by a table of 3 men who are seated just here on the map where I'm pinging. They seem to have been watching the Zach as he came in, and Zach is very much aware of them, and every time you see him sort of like every now and again glancing over his shoulder, and you sort of like pick this up as a party and look over, and the 3 men, as soon as you sort of like look at them, they immediately turn their gazes back to their tavern, their tankards of ale that they're supping.
As you're seeing this, he'll quietly mention to Zach, who are those men over there you keep on looking at? What are they to you?
I do not know anybody in this town, although I am pretty sure that I saw one of them at the gatehouse when I entered, although I could not be sure, mainly because of the darkness.
What was he doing at the gatehouse? If you think it was him, was he a guard there, or was he just been just watching and been like I don't know the word. Mr. Bartleby, who are those wastes and strafes you deal with in the part of the city?
I was wondering if Bartleby actually recognizes them, perhaps as like regulars here, or I was wondering perhaps the Bartleby is friends with the guards, so sometimes he perhaps.
So, what dice roll would you like to roll?
Actually, I have an idea. Once Bartleby is done, I'll deal with our buddies, our new buddies.
Thinking like streetwise or insight, maybe.
Okay, you can roll insight, but do you have a passion for the knowledge of the guards, friends with the guards?
Yes, I do have a passion, friend of the guards.
So you can roll insight, but you can augment it with your passion of the guards to get the change of roll. So it'll go up by 12%, your insight, just for this
Excellent.
roll.
Here is my insight. Could I use a point of luck to reverse?
Yeah, so that'll give you 36. Which, yeah, you look over 2 things that you notice straight away. Number one, if they are in the guards, you don't recognize them. But really and truly, you probably, you don't know all the guards, but there's something about the way they dress that they seem more to be dwellers of the lower class. Probably very familiar with the slums areas. However, you haven't seen them here at all, and they're completely and utterly new. They seem almost like, with your insight roll, they almost like seem out of place, as if they're not totally relaxed, as if they are on edge. Yeah, the other thing that you notice is that in Bartleby's mind, they're quite shifty. But at the same time, they seem to be doing nothing wrong.
Bartleby will share this with the group in a hushed tone and add, it could be possible that they're just new in town, fresh off of a ship. Perhaps because of them, we should move to this warehouse and meet your partner or haste.
I agree, but let's do this really quick. I shout for Beth's attention.
Yeah. Well,
You need Beth's attention?
Yeah, just
I have an idea.
Just roll a percentile dice for me.
Okay. Just I have 100.
Yeah.
All right.
93. Okay then. So that's not going to make it. I think what we will create for you, if you wish to continue your relationship, your interaction.
It's not to increase relationship. I'm just gonna have order. I just plan to order something for our new buds down there.
But I think it'd be nice to sort of like develop this with Beth. So I think
like a passion.
Yeah, I think, well, in the game we call them we have contacts. Okay. So everybody sort of like has a contact that is linked to the passion. So Beth will become one of your contacts. So she probably knows a lot about the hairy hobgoblin and people who are new there and not new there. So we'll actually develop that. But basically, it will start off at 30%, that passion. Okay, so 93, even if you reverse it, it's not going to change it. But you can put it down on your character sheet since you've started to interact with her. And she comes over to you and sort of like, did you say you're offering drinks?
Yeah, I was wondering if I can offer our new friends down there, just give them an order of your grossest ale and maybe some rat stew.
And she looks quite she looks quite shocked, and so she says, "Mr. Cyrus, none of Basil's ale is bad. It is all top quality." But
and Cyrus, I can definitely vouch for the food here.
Yes, Hazra provides us. Mr. Hazra here frequently goes out and about and brings us back animals to cook. We are a very well established tavern, Mr. Cyrus.
I apologize. I of course I knew this. I just thought maybe you had something in the back for people you want to get rid of.
She always like looks. You can't decide. Roll your insight skill.
All right.
No. Okay, so you're not too sure whether or not she's feigning, sort of like, how dare you, or whether or not she's truly saying, how dare you? And she sort of like hurries off to sort of like give them, the people at the table, some ale. And yeah, so Zach is here now, and he sort of like says, He's keeping a careful eye on these people, and he seems to be quite unnerved by them. And somebody had asked him, I think it was you, Hazra, had asked where he had seen them, and in answer to that question, he says he remembers one of them sort of like leaning against a pole, just as they entered the city, and that's all he says. He just says, well, they could have actually come here, but I get the strangest feeling I've seen him before. Anyway, my master awaits. Sorry, my business partner awaits. Shall we adjourn and go to meet him?
I'll stand up. I'm gonna bring my glass with me as we exit out.
Yeah.
Just before we do go, Hazra's been here a while. Does Basil have a back door?
Oh, sorry, Basil. I thought you said Bartleby had a back door. No, he has. He does. He does have these stairs here. There is a floor underneath. And there's also steps up to the first floor. Way back, I don't think anybody was actually in the adventure. How the party got to know Basil was that he had an infestation of mole rats, and they actually dealt with it and sort of like eradicated. And that's how they actually built up. Initially, they built up the interaction with. I'm sure Bartleby does have a back door, but probably keeps it hidden
just like
from
the start of Dungeons and Dragons
Are
Online.
they laughing about what I'm laughing about?
Chat just loves loves a good joke.
He's not. Bartleby is the ultimate Ken doll.
Of course.
You've
I
lost
had
me.
a girlfriend once until a demon chopped her head off. Well,
Oh, nice.
Did you?
yeah, it was when I had the mask and I was trying to. She had the necklace that I needed to form the third.
Oh,
part of
yes. Yeah.
And she kept pushing herself on me. I guess we were a thing, and then a demon snipped
Well,
off her
was that
head.
the person that you bought a little ornament for?
Yeah, I was buying. It was a certain like bird or something.
Yeah.
That represented fertility that
That's right.
I initially accidentally chose, and then I just kept rolling with that symbol.
Yeah, and I think you failed your roll. So what you got, you were hoping was going to communicate your love, but it conveyed something quite different. I think.
It's a fun fumble.
Okay, so
Yep.
just so you know, I presume you're all leaving with Zach.
Hopefully my thought was to actually go out the back door, maybe through the kitchen that way, if there's a back door that way. And then we could sort of like, oh, come and have a look in the kitchen, and then we'll sneak out the back.
So there's no actual back way out, but
Oh, right, okay.
but
Yep.
what I will allow you to do is that you have a stealth skill, I think.
Indeed.
Does everybody have the stealth skill, or just?
No, everybody has it. They're just really, really, really bad at it.
Okay then.
I'm decent.
So what's what's your stealth skill?
Mine's 78.
Mine's a good old 25.
Okay then. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to allow Hazra to augment your stealth skills. So on your character sheet, wherever stealth is, if you press the little plus button by stealth, there's an option to put something in other, and you can just put in other 16% and hit return, and that will adjust your skill. But shows this action is finished, then you need to reduce that, take that 16 off. So add it, hit return, you should see your skill go up. And then what you all need to do is roll for me your stealth. I'm going to roll.
Wow, Benjamin.
Ben is quite a stealthy character. Right, okay then.
Do you want me to put 16 in mine as well?
No.
You're so slippery.
Oh, God!
We all just start tripping over the bar.
So this is quite interesting. So
All three of
so
my
the
life.
Ben sort of like gets the message that you're going to be stealthy, and sort of like heads off, almost cat-like, and not knocking anything, totally silent, and sort of like makes his way to the door, and not necessarily quietly, but in a fashion that he doesn't draw attention as he's walking out there. Zach seems to do the same. He seems to be quite nimble. Bartleby, you do not. So tell me, how do you attract attention to yourself?
Bartleby is thinking about the words Hazard said. He's kind of repeating it like a prayer, a mantra in his head. And then as he's like rounding the corner to smoothly exit, he just like hits a bar stool so hard that it hits the back of the bar and clatters to the floor. And somebody like spills a drink because they look too swiftly at Bartleby.
Yeah, and somebody yells out, "Typical drunken clerics! always at the communion wine, as he goes. Cyrus, are you using luck on your roll or not? Okay then, so tell me how. So Bartleby sets off. So Ben and Zach are by the door now. Bartleby sets off and knocks over a bar stool. What does Cyrus do?
Cyrus, as he's walking, he's kind of looking at the guys he just purchased a drink for, and then and when he wasn't paying attention, he trips just a bit on an unstable floorboard, spills his drink just a bit, realizes he screwed up and decided instead just take it all up to face, and winks at the people, the guys that he purchased a drink for, does this with his drink, and then continues drinking as he walks by.
Yeah, and Beth sees you trip and thing, and you hear her say to Basil, well, he's going to be no joy tonight, isn't he? With all that alcohol. And finally, the master of stealth himself, the person who can go unseen, the person...
It's funny you should say that, because Hazra
is going to use some luck.
And he sees his two friends here make a bit of a hash of things. He does indeed use a point of luck and disappears. And while using their movements as distraction, he scoots around the other side of the table and goes to the door. So he's going to reverse that to a 9.
So as you augment somebody else's, you'd augment yourself back again, but that will not be a crit, won't it? Because you got skills.
No, it's just shy of a crit.
Well, yeah, and you sort of like, as you say, use everybody else's befuddlement and knocking over, etc., to sort of like hide your own safe passage and silent passage through. Can Cyrus and Bartleby, can you just roll your perceptions for me, please? Okay. Cyrus, are you using luck at all, or are you leaving it how it is?
Screw. I'll luck it. Make it into a 50.
Okay then, so deduct your luck point. So you actually do notice that the three guys, they don't seem to leave, but they sort of like seem to be keeping careful tabs on you all. They don't actually see Ben and Zach and Hazra, but they see you sort of like clumsily make your way out. And what you do notice, Cyrus, is that as you sort of like leave the hairy hobgoblin, what you do notice at that point is that they suddenly gaze over at your table and suddenly realize that Ben and Zach and Hazra are no longer there. You know, they know that Bartleby and Cyrus were trying to get out, but they didn't see the rest of you actually leave, and they sort of like look at them, they look back, and they seem to have almost like, and they start to talk between each other. Now, Zach tells you that his master, his business partner, is down at the warehouse. And he sort of like has mentioned to you that this warehouse was purchased or rented before they actually set off from Airwood, possibly about a month ago. Zach has been to the warehouse with his business companion, and he is trying to remember how to get there. He's only been there once. And the other thing that you will notice is that it is dark. It's nighttime. Within the merchant district, the district that within the city walls of Lindo, there are lanterns hanging up at various points that the city guards light for you. But as you are aware, Bartleby, once you pass beyond those city gates, you enter the slums, the area of workhouses, the area that Sniffer excels in. If you remember, Sniffer is the person who's in charge of the Thieves Guild within Lindo that you have had some altercations with in the past.
Very dead.
Bartleby, you're quite at home in the slums, but a little bit somewhat nervous in the actual nighttime. So my first question is, remember, none of you you're all human, so you just have normal natural sight. My first question is is anybody taking a lantern or a torch or something to show the way as you go into the slums?
Bartleby usually carries around a basic lantern. They usually put candles in because he's used to the lower Lindo area, and he is nervous, and that's why he carries it in case he ever has to go into the lower Lindo at night.
Okay, so you'll just
light that lantern.
Right, so you're going to light your lantern. You should be on a map now that looks quite dark. Yeah, okay then. So Bartleby, you're going to have your lantern on, yeah? So let's pop your lantern on. And then hopefully you will see parts of it light up. Now, just before we go any further, I just need to assign you to your characters. So you should be able to see them and move them in just a few seconds. So Bartleby, you should be able to move yours now. Cyrus, you should be able to move yours.
My token to show up on my.
Yeah, it should be kind of left middle. If you're zoomed out, I mean.
Zoom out somewhere.
You're very small down at the bottom.
Do we need to refresh for that to take?
It shouldn't do. I'm just about to make sure that you've all got sight.
I've got sight, but that's because I have the lantern. Maybe they're not seeing.
Oh, there we go. There it is.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I just have to make sure that everybody's.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah.
Okay.
So everybody should be able to see. Can everybody see it now?
Yep, lovely. Yep. And I can move.
So as you can see, if you are watching the stream, that please remember that my map shows everything now. If you're watching the stream, that this is what the characters actually see. So they have a radius from Bartleby's torchlight, and then after that there's a bit of dim light, and then that's it. That's as far as they can see. They can't see all the other things that are actually on the map hiding. So Zach is trying to remember how to get back to this warehouse, and he sort of like takes you into the slums, and there seems to be a lot of umming and ahhing, and every now and again he seems to go down a rather dead end or something like that. Bartleby, you're quite familiar with this area, so you can actually help him if you wish by augmenting his skill in a way that you wish to use it. So it might be your locale skill, it might be your streetwise skill, it might be one of your passions, and you can help him sort of like guide his way to it.
I would like to use my streetwise because while Bartleby has the lore of Lower Lindo skill, he thinks he's going to rely more on what should be since he's not familiar with this area, I think.
So what's his streetwise skill?
1, so I give you a 11.
11, okay, so let me just roll my dice. 16. Brilliant. So you actually, by working with him, you actually managed to get Zach actually sort of like takes you straight to the area. And you sort of like do this by saying, no, it can't be down there, Zach. That's a dead end. Or no, that's where you go to the light district. No, this is something else. This is the general area of the sea. And together, and quite impressively, you get closer and closer to the street where the warehouse that they've purchased is, and it's very close to the water's edge. And you turn the corner that you are actually in, and you come down to this really long alleyway almost. It's almost as if you can see the road carries on, and there's buildings on either side, and it's quite dark, but you should be able to see something at the end on the pier. Can you see that? Yeah. And Zach sort of like looks at him and he says, I don't know why he's outside. I told him to wait inside the warehouse. And
Well, let us go forward and meet this man in that case. And
yeah,
then we can talk to him.
And he sort of like shouts down the alleyway to the person at the event. He says, Neville! Like this. And the merchant turns round, and you notice that he's actually carrying a lantern, and that's what's giving him the light at the far end. He's a very tall, spindly man, and even from this distance, his nose is casting a very long shadow. He's very sharp features. He has almost like a pencil line mustache, and he's dressed a lot more elegantly than Zach, but does show signs of traveling. And yeah, what are you all going to do at this point?
Seems as though that's what we need to get to. I think all young folks should lead the way and hide back here behind Bartleby. And
okay, so people, so Zach will lead the way.
Okay.
And Ben's there behind Bartleby, who's got the lights.
I'll be right behind Zach.
You're right. Okay. So you can walk. You can go two abreast down here. That's not a problem. Are you going?
I want to be in front of Bartleby just to cover.
Yeah. That's fine.
Keep my eye open for the dangers I would expect, but otherwise, Bartleby.
Yeah, and you head down. You head down the alleyway, and the door just by you, Hazra and Bartleby, just here. That is where the door to this building is. This, from where you are, looks like to be like a double loading door, as if it probably opens to outwards to sort of like have carts or something come in. And Neville's there, and he sort of like he sort of like sees you coming back down, and he sort of like takes a couple of steps forward like this with his lantern, and he turns to you, and he's talking to Zach mainly, and he says, I'm so glad you are back, Zach. I just heard this funny splashing sound out on the pier, and I just been out to see what is happening. And as he says these words, you all see something, and you see something climbing up out of the water, completely silently. Neville doesn't seem to even recognize that they're there. The only reason you probably see them is that they don't seem to be stealthing or hiding. But you do notice that they come out of the water incredibly quietly. And they sort of like gradually pull themselves up out of the water and appear on either side of the pier. They're keeping very low, and they are keeping extremely quiet. And you just see them hauling themselves up as they come onto the actual the pier. You do notice that they are armed, and they seem to be carrying in their hands what appears to be tridents. They seem to have these long tridents. The shaft of them seems to have been cut shorter, if that makes sense. So it's still either a throwing or thrusting weapon, and they just gradually come out and assume a ready stance behind Neville. And at this point, this is when I would like you all to roll for me some initiative. So you should have a dice, a set of dice next to your initiative up at the top, and it should have allow you to roll initiative. You make sure, brilliant, just make sure your characters are selected, your tokens, and then we can get everybody into the initiative order. Then we can see. Oh.
Got my best roll.
Oh, not my best roll. And yeah, so who are we waiting for? This captain.
Just waiting for me. I'm having issues right now just because of how slow my internet is.
Do you want me to roll it for you?
Yeah, roll it for me because it won't let me. Once I refresh the roll 20, it won't let me get up to my character sheet right now.
Yeah, cool. I can do that for you. Fingers crossed for a good roll. Doesn't even want to roll for me. Oh, there we go. 13 you got.
Nice.
Which is nice. That's it. Hazel, what's your initiative bonus?
11.
And Cyrus's is 10, I think it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So Hazra will go first. So Bartleby, you're up there at the top. You will actually go first, and then it'll go turn order. So just to remind everybody, especially if you're watching the stream or you're new, on your character sheet, you should have something called action points. Okay. You can use one action point per turn. So we'll go through turn 1, then we'll go through turn 2, then we go through turn 3. And once everybody's used their action points, then we'll go back to the next round. Each round actually only lasts 5 seconds. Okay, so everything is very quick. Remember, you can use your action points to do any action. There is no delayed action, so to speak. There is a delay, which means that you can still use your action point to defend, but not to attack. You can, of course, just dither, and in which case, nothing, you just waste that action point. We are going to say at the beginning of this round that anybody who wants a weapon drawn, it's out. You probably have your, the people with two-handed weapons, the spear, the glaive, and the hammer, you can't sheathe them in any case. And Bartleby, you have your lantern in one hand. And I get the feeling that you probably won't have your weapon drawn in any case.
You read my mind. I just have the lantern out.
Yeah. Okay. So let's get the first combat round over with. Before we go for our break. So yeah, Bartleby, you are up first on 19.
I would like to use my right hand to pray and press into Hazard in front of me to give him a protection. Amriel, keep him safe.
Cool.
And I'm hoping the little push of a handprint on his back will like project him forward.
so get away.
So you rolled your folk magic, absolutely brilliant. So therefore you have 1d3 will actually absorb from you before any damage is given to armor or anything like that. So just remember, on the first time you get hit, roll that 1d3 for me, and then we'll reduce it from there. Okay, Ben, you are up next. What would you like to do?
Okay. Ben has got to squint, look down the alleyway, and watch as Bartleby is pressing his hand into Hazra, and gotta look over, look in front of him at Cyrus, and put his hand on Cyrus's back. And reality is blessed thee, and fuck it, and I'm gonna. Oh, sorry. I'm gonna reach down and grab the hammer, which I've been leaning on like a cane.
Yeah.
He is. Ben's definitely been acting like an old fuddy duddy so far. And pull his hammer up and I suppose, what is the range on
Disruption.
Disruption? Yeah. What's the range on disruption?
It's your power in meters, I think.
I thought it was oh no, wait, no.
Let me just
I know my shock spell has range. It's like my folk magic skill in meters.
Oh, right. Let me just yeah, so it'd be the same as that. It'll be your folk magic skill in meters. So it's absolutely fine. It's well within range. You can pop that spell off. Not a problem at all if that's what you would like to do.
I'd like to, the one on the right.
Yep.
Yeah. Just realize that I'm apparently not, I don't know. Maybe it's working. Maybe Cyrus is invincible now because of my touch, or maybe it didn't do anything. So,
okay. So you need to roll your folk magic skill.
Okay.
And you want to succeed as a standard roll.
Oh, I rolled the wrong. Okay, that's giggity.
Right. So your standard is actually a fumble. Because you've so 99 or 100, so you're first. Okay, so what this means, because you're spell casting, is that no spell goes off, but you still lose the magic point. Okay, it still takes it off. I think it might even be 1d3 magic points. Yeah, it is. So let me just roll 1d3 for you. So no spell comes off and you lose 2 magic points. They just sort of like go, but don't worry, because the only person who probably saw it was Bartleby. And
Amriel hated that you're blasphemy, but I loved it.
Hazra, you're up. What would you like to do?
Hazra can see these things coming up over. Do they look like, can Hazra see if they look like men, or are they goblins?
They look, you encountered some water goblins beforehand on the last adventure. They attacked the caravan. These look very similar, but they are bigger. They are a lot bigger than the little sniffling goblins that you saw. The other thing, that if you remember, you were attacked by 4 goblins. There only seems to be 2 of these, and then that's it.
Okay, Hazra, as a free action, is going to shout, "Neville, run to us now, man, run." And with his action, he's going to plant his foot down and throw his spear at him.
Nice. Has Zach just disappeared off the...
Thought you did that.
I have the power to dispel Zach.
I was looking at one point, and then I rolled his initiative, and then when I looked back, I must have...
He's buggered off.
Yeah, he says, I was just trying to get his initiative.
Guys, I'm going home.
Okay, then, so they are not currently in combat. So you will not have to increase your difficulty by... it won't be a hard, it'll just be a standard attack roll. Please be up front.
Don't do that. Just for that.
I just thought if you fumbled, I was just going to get it to hit Neville.
Or Zach. That's where he disappeared to.
Yeah. So, this come flying towards it. I do get an evade. I can roll to one side. I can't parry it because it's missile fire, but I can try to evade it. Yeah.
Oh, well, I'll tell you what I'm going to do, because that looks really good, and I don't want to lose a spear. I'm going to use a point of luck to make it up.
Yeah. Okay. Then
That's for making me fumble last session.
This is when I hope it's a crit.
I know.
Can I please remind you that if it's a crit, you can't say I'll take the first one. You have to take this one when it comes out. No, so he tries to get out the way. And I'm just so you know, I'm not going to play luck against luck and suddenly say I'm going to use.
It was a glint of the spearhead that made him like, I'll just try and that, and it didn't.
So you will have a special hit location damage, please.
I'm going to do special impale.
Yeah.
Your location is going to be 6, which, if it's a humanoid, will be his left eye. Oh, it's the left.
Yeah. So you probably didn't get a high enough curve on your or lob on your short spear, and so it dipped at the end, and instead of getting him in the chest or abdomen, it sort of like pierces him in the leg. Yeah.
Damage wise.
Damage, please.
Like 6 points in the left leg.
Were you impaling?
Yes.
So
I get to roll twice, don't I?
Yeah, and we take the.
No, we'll take.
We'll take the. How many times do you want to throw this?
Oh my god! Do you know the funny thing is my hands are here.
You can't just keep rolling it, and then right. So that was his left leg, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. So that whacks into his left leg, and he sort of like staggers somewhat and lets out a cry as it goes into his leg. It's definitely in his leg now, so he's almost like his movement is reduced, but at the same time Neville almost like hears you crying, your shout, and sort of like goes, what, and then he hears the commotion behind him, and he turns round and sees these two creatures, one who's now got a spear through his left leg, impaled on it, and the other one with his trident. And Cyrus, we come to you.
All right, so I'm still having technical difficulties. It's not letting me do anything on roll 20.
I can roll it for you.
But I will tell you what I want to do, and we'll find out what happens. All right, so I'm actually on this turn. I'm just going to try to summon fires within me to rack them. But
okay.
I do have a question on distance. Am I in distance right now to not have to roll, wait 3 rounds or 3 turns?
The number of turns that it will take you is, it's 1 turn plus anything that you change. So for example, sorcery magic is basically touch. So you're putting 1 point of shaping in to get the range. So it'd be your power. If you wished, which is completely up to you. Of course, you could, if you wish, say, I don't want just to rack one of them. I actually want to rack 2 of them. So you'll take 1 turn to cast. You have to increase. What's your power?
My power is, I think it's 14.
That's fine. So you'll need 1 point of shaping for that. If you wish to increase it to 2 targets and hit them both at the same time, that would be another point of shaping, which would mean it'd take you 3 turns to actually cast the spell.
But not 3 rounds, correct?
3 turns, not rounds.
Just 3 turns. Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna do that because I just gonna spend the entire round
Okay, then. So what you need to just keep a check on, and what I normally do is something like this. So I know you got 3 turns. So you've started to cast. You feel Ben put you on hand on the back, and then you sort of like ignore it and start to summon up your magic to perform a rack. So that will now be you will at the end of this round. You will have 2 points left. At the end of the 3, that is when you roll your skill to see whether or not you've been successful.
Sounds good.
Okay, and now it's... Yep, sorry.
I just now got access to my character sheet.
Cool.
All right.
So now we go to the hobgoblins. And they are going to... the first one, just to let you know, his attack is going to be hard because he's got your spear in his leg rather than anything else. So this is the one who's actually at hard. And I don't have this.
Nice. Oh,
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I was. Let me just see. Skill is. Yeah, he actually zaps, sticks the trident into this guy, and even with his being hard, he actually succeeds as it goes in. He's going to use his trident, which has, just think it's 1d10. Let's make sure.
does anybody else simply set up from the stack and get a promotion?
Oh, it's only 1d8. But he does have, he sort of like presses this trident into Neville. He does 10 points of damage. He's actually going to roll that again because his special is going to be impale it. Oh, he'll just stick with 10. He will do a location roll for it to see where he actually stabs. 20, that's his head.
I was going to say, you might as well go for the head while you're at it.
That's a nice roll. So he
Oh my God.
actually does 10 points of damage into Neville's head. Neville only has 4 points of damage there, which means that
steel bucket
he'll take him down. So he needs to roll his endurance to stay alive. Otherwise, this will literally kill him. Unfortunately, he doesn't make his endurance, and you suddenly see that probably the rest of you sees the 3 prongs of the trident come out the back of Neville's head as he sort of like whacks it in, and then the second goblin, water goblin. Oh no, sorry, wrong one. Well, thrusts his thing in and hits him again. He's incapacitated, so I'll get a special hit location, etc. So he will try to impale. Oops, wrong. That ignore that one. That's my spear. Trident 4 or 8. So I'll take the 8, and then he will roll a d20 to get the hit location. 1 second. And 5, which is a leg, I think.
Left.
Left.
I really want him dead.
Yeah, left leg, and he sort of like whacks it in. That also 8 points of damage will take him down. So he needs to make an endurance roll, which he fails as well, and Neville collapses to the ground. So that's all on 2. We're going into combat turn 2 now, and we're back up at the top with you, Bartleby. But before we go through the second combat turn, let's take the break there. Okay, so we're going to have a quick 10-minute break so we can stretch our legs, etc., etc. If you're watching the stream, thank you for coming along. We will be back shortly with combat turn 2, and with 1 dead Neville and 2 big water goblins. We've tried and pressed into Neville still. They would have to make brawn rolls to pull it out. So yeah, we will be back in 10 minutes. So see you soon. and then we can.
We weren't live?
No, we weren't live. Yes. So yeah, sorry, we are back. We were just busy talking about action points, etc. So welcome back. I know some of you have got a sneak drink, and some of you have got coffee. I'm having a double chocolate mocha at the moment.
I'm always having a beer,
Which is really nice. So we're still in round 1,
With you.
and we're going to the second initiative pass. So this is combat turn 2. So I'm presuming everybody will still have action points left. So Bartleby, you're up first. What would you like to do with your action point this turn?
I'd like to use my final action point for the round to, well, am I able to reach and touch Hazra? Because I know he just threw his spear, and I was hoping that I might be able to still reach out and touch him.
He hasn't.
I haven't moved. I've
he hasn't moved.
placed my foot down and thrown, and then gone back into my standing position.
So
I don't want to get hit in the face with an elbow, but I do want to ask Amriel
And
to bless the scimitar.
Hazra's very used to you touching him. You know,
Yes,
so,
as everybody becomes.
yeah.
When they...
So I
You'll
don't.
often see me hanging around the church.
Yeah.
waiting to be touched.
So Blade Sharp will increase your. That will go on to your scimitar. Yeah.
Make it as sharp as the moon is bright.
Oh,
So
beautiful.
the amount. How much damage do you do normally with it?
My scimitar is 1d8, so that's 1d10 now.
So it'll go up to 1t. Hang on, wait, because Bartleby has to cast his folk magic first. Oh! Now that means obviously people
1d10.
people are with you. Amriel's with you, but not with Ben at the moment. So a critical success means that you don't lose any magic points. The spell goes off, but you lose no magic points. So you've still got all your magic points. And Hazra, your scimitar, when you get it out, is now blade sharp. So you'll do 1d10 with it when you hit, rather than 1d8. I think it's really funny because Paul Neville's is sort of like he babbed at the end, and Hazra's super powerful. He's just
Strength of a bear.
waiting. And yeah, we come to Ben now. What would Ben like to do? I'm quite happy for you to ask me if you do certain things, how long will that take, etc., etc. So
Oh yeah,
pass that by
I'm
me.
all about learning the system.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, seeing and watching again, watching Bartleby next to me doing feats and miracles in the name of Amriel, and I just apparently am not fit for it. Ben is really leaning on that. He's like in a different personality crutch here.
Yeah.
Almost literal, because he's leaning on his warhammer, and the injury has really been messing with doubting his devotion. But I think he's going to probably forego the magic side of this, and
Can't show my devotion by casting the spells and the magics of the divine. I'll have to find another way.
and I'm going. Ben's gonna just march forward past Cyrus, and how far? What's
Well, on your character sheet, there will be the amount of movement you can do in a whole round.
Great.
So you'll have a walk and a run and a sprint. Generally, you can probably do any of those. It will take an action point up though to do that move. The only time, technically in Mythras, everything takes an action point, but we change it slightly. So, for example, we've started to let people walk and draw a weapon, or walk and cry out, or something like that. So you've got your weapon drawn. You can pass through friendly targets, as the same as D&D 5th edition. So it really depends. Are you running or walking?
Walk is a 6. So what is that? Is that 6 times my what?
No, that's 6 meters.
Oh, 6 meters. Oh, okay.
yeah.
Well, that's even more simple. Okay.
So these, it's about 10 meters. The water goblins are about 12.7 meters away. So you would have to sprint if you wanted to get up to them. And then you would arrive in combat with them when they get to hit on 2.
With no action points. So, as a little hint, never run into combat.
Yeah.
Just make them come to you. Then they have to use an action point. Yeah, because you can run. They go. They're gonna go.
And the only time that fails that tactic is when somebody's already in combat, like poor Neville, who's just been double kebabbed.
Oh man,
I'm
that was
behind.
brutal. Okay. So what I will do is I will try to not blunder this again. I will step in front. Ben's gonna no longer favoring the hammer as a crutch. Wield it strengthfully, because he figures himself an 80-year-old man at this point, but he's still got fight left in him.
Yeah.
Even though he's in his 20s. And he walks in front of Cyrus, seeing Cyrus. Is it a visible thing? Cyrus casting his magic?
Yeah, when Cyrus casts magic, his hair turns like it is in. I think I'm right with that, Captain, aren't I?
Yeah, you
It's
got
like
it.
it's like complete opposite, isn't it? You change your goes black
Yeah,
and
so-
your hair goes red.
So that his
Very
token, his hair is not normally that color, but when he's summoning magic, it's a bit like
Polarized, is that the right word?
Jean.
Yeah, Jean Grey.
Jean Grey.
from X-Men.
Yeah, you know when she's the Phoenix, it also like that. You can always tell when Cyrus doesn't cast spells subtly.
No, I like to do direct. I want everyone to like say, shit's going down. Get some popcorn.
Scares the hell out of us.
Veins are gonna happen.
So you can move past him if you wish.
I was like,
I will let you go past me because I would rather them hit you than.
I'll casually walk by, and as I'm looking at Cyrus walking by, and that's good. Okay, I'll just slide on in here, right in front of you, and I'll hold the hammer up. I'm going to catch. I'm going to assume. Correct me if I'm wrong here. That bludgeon just basically buffs my weapon or buffs my weapon.
Yeah.
Attack.
So if you want to, you can't move and cast a spell. So what happens if you bludgeon? Then it actually increases your damage on your hammer. So it's exactly like Blade Sharp that Bartleby's just cast, but on your hammer. So normally your hammer does 1d10, I think.
Okay. Well, since it's going to take both my movement and action to do the magic, I will just move in front. It's more important to me that I do something to show my devotion. I'll move in front of Cyrus as he's charging up his shit, and that's
brilliant. So you could just move in front of him to where you want to be. So how much does your hammer do normally?
Normally does the hammer.
Is it 1d10?
Hammer blow. Oh wait, that's great hammer. 1d10 plus 3.
Okay then. So if you put bludgeon on it, instead of doing 1d10, it'll do 2d6 plus 3. So that,
it changes the.
Yeah, it makes it so Blade Sharp makes it sharper, bludgeon makes it more solid, so it actually does more damage. So if you cast that on your hammer instead of doing 1d10 would do 2d6. Just to let you know, that would happen. You would keep that. In Mythras, everything is done by scenes. So you would keep that on your weapon until this combat is finished. And then it would dissipate. Then that's it.
So it's adding more mass to the hammer, isn't it?
Yeah.
Basically.
So
it's a per scene. Gotcha.
So do you want to move in front of Cyrus? Is that going to be, or do you want to cast a spell?
Yes.
Yeah.
Nope, I'm going to move in front of Cyrus.
Okay, yeah. So you should be able to. Can you move your character where you want it?
Yeah, sure, I got you. Sorry, whenever I have my character sheet up.
Right, brilliant. Okay then. So that's Ben moving. You see him, Cyrus, taking a protective stance in front of you. You're not hindered with your spell casting at all. But Hazra, you're up.
Hazra is going to move forward in front of Zach here to protect him. And he's going to, at the same time, he's going to be drawing out his scimitar out of his scabbard. And as he does so, he notices this beautiful moonlight glow of his blade. And he'll do like a little glance back to Bartleby and nod with like that appreciative nod.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he'll prepare himself for the coming onslaught and the coming back of his.
Okay. So Cyrus, you're busy spell casting. This would be, you'll have one more turn to carry on your spell casting. So that was your second turn spell casting. At this point, Zach draws his. It looks probably like a long blade dagger rather than a short sword, but he actually draws it. And the hobgoblins, that we'll call them hobgoblins for this, just because it says it on the initiative. These guys will use their action to pull their blades out of Neville. So because they are impaled, they then have to pull them out, use an action to do that. So the first one gets a crit and pulls it out really nicely. The second one pulls it out as well. So what I'm going to say is that I think the first one did 10 damage. Okay, so he yanks that out in 10 damage. I'm actually going to say, because he got a crit pulling it out, he probably does even more damage than that. And you notice that Neville's head, all the back of it is just like a bloody mess now. And he yanks it out, and you just see Neville fall backwards slowly. And Hazra, you and Ben, you hear this as he flops back and his head hits the dock. There's a noticeable squelch, and you see that his face has got 3 sort of like huge gaps in them where the trident has gone in. He definitely looks dead. He is completely and utterly done. But the 2 hobgoblins have now got their tridents out, and that's on their turn. So now we go back up to the top of the turn. This is turn. Yeah.
I would like to show off the luck system, if I may, and buy an action.
Yes, you may buy an action. What would you like to do?
That is my second luck point I spent to buy an action. I was hoping that I could use this turn to roll my lore monsters to see if I recognize anything different. In case you haven't noticed, everybody, Bartleby is obsessed with goblins and names most monsters goblins even when they're clearly not. But he'd like to see if he notices any differences, any suggestions that they might be armored would be his primary question.
Okay,
like
yeah.
Scaly ones.
Roll your lore monster. Are you looking at?
Use a point of
I think I'm going to use my last luck point just for the fun of it. It's knowledge.
You going to use it?
Actually, no. I'm gonna save my last luck point. Actually,
the only thing that therefore that you notice is that they seem to be bigger than the water goblins that you saw before. Okay. It definitely looks like they're either leaders or something closely related to the water goblins, but they're definitely bigger. Definitely much bigger than the goblins. The goblins are sort of like up to your waist, you know, a little bit higher than that. These are massive dudes. Okay, so Ben, you have 2 actions, so you've finished your second action, so you can't act. Hazra, you will have another action, I think.
I do. Hazra, in fact, Hazra's going to stay where he is, but he's going to shout at this goblin. He's going to doubt his sight, this goblin, or this water goblin here. And he said, "What are you doing here, Lindo? Why have you killed this man?"
did you use your free action beforehand to shout at Neville?
No, I'm actually using my action.
Oh, right. So so you sort of like engage with discussion with the one of the water goblins on 13. Cyrus, you are on 13. Do you have an action point? How many action points do you have? Muted. I'm just looking at.
I have 3.
3. So at this point, your spell will go off. So what you need to do, therefore, is roll your invocation skill.
All coming together now, guys. Uh-oh. Okay.
Tension.
I'm going to use my last luck for this one.
Okay, and reverse it. No, well, you're going to have to re-roll it, aren't you? Yeah.
You have to re-roll it, yeah.
Re-roll away.
Come on. Cross fingers, everybody. Come on, come on, come on.
Oh, yes.
Whoa!
61 out of 61. So
Wow.
that is a nice.
I got it up because
roll.
of. But not only that's roll. That I just got. It was 56 earlier today, not 61 because of.
For your experience, so it's gone up.
Yes.
Brilliant.
Well, I'd say 61 out of 61 is one of the best rolls you can get.
So so you cast this. I can evade from it if I wish. However, I'm going to. You're behind Ben at the moment, and the hobgoblins are probably haven't seen this coming as the fire comes towards them. So what I need you to do, I need to tell me 2 separate hit locations, or if you would like to just one roll hit location and it's the same on both monsters, I'm happy about that. You can't roll it and then decide. So you can say now I'll do 2 separate rolls for hit location,
Right.
or you can say
I'm gonna do. Are you okay with me doing?
I'm absolutely fine. You just remember what's on what though. So do the one at the top first. So this is his location.
All right. There we go.
Okay, so that will be his abdomen, I think. Yeah.
Right, and the second one
be his 5, so that'll be his left leg. So you need to do some damage. What's your intensity of your?
Intensity is a 7, so that's gonna be. I just looked it up.
Yes.
1d8 is my damage.
Yeah, 1d8. So top one first for 1d8. He takes 1 in his abdomen. Okay. Yeah.
And 8. Okay, there we go.
And the second one takes 8 in a leg. Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that takes him down to -1 in that location. Just so you know, as you send the fire out and it winds its way and those tendrils start to wrap around them, you do see that they're sort of like lit up by your fire. You do notice that they are wearing some kind of armor, or it might be natural. It's not natural. It's definitely armor, and your rack goes through that. So my hit points in my left leg on this are now in negative, so I need to roll my endurance. Keep up, and he's up, so he's the rack spell is sort of like wrapped fiery tendrils around his leg and the other's abdomen, and you keep sending this back, so you keep it there now, and you'll just do damage every time.
I was going to say, that was my question, is rack the one where you can just hold it there?
Yeah, he's holding it as it goes. So now comes to Zach is looking quite worried and concerned. And now hobgoblins, who actually have 3 actions, and so they are going to lob their tridents. So the first one comes to you, Hazra, and this this one has this one's at a hard skill level. So because he's got the rack has reduced his leg hit points. So
and he's got my spear in his leg.
Yeah, he chucks it, but actually, I could use my pointer luck there, but he does. He chucks it, and it sort of like misses you and misses. It probably pings into the wall here, as that, and then the other one chucks it at you, Ben, as it reels back its. Yeah, and he chucks that past you, and it's coming to you, Ben. Now, you have no action points left. Okay, so what actually happens now is that I get what's known as, I get a special, like impale, etc. And he chucks this spear at you. It lands.
Can I make one thing suggestion before, because Ben doesn't know this, but he can use a luck point to reverse the enemy's roll, or to.
Well, I wouldn't reverse it. I would make me
reverse it. But I mean, re-roll, not reverse it. Re-roll.
Okay.
Yeah, don't reverse it.
Yeah. Okay. Very true. Thank you. Yeah. I appreciate that, because I haven't really figured anything to do it on like you guys have been. Yeah. If it's definitely gonna hit me, I would use a luck.
Yeah. So you could just reduce the total on your sheet and make me roll it again. Yeah. So here's my second roll.
Oh!
You should have.
I think Ben might be cursed.
You
guys.
should have stuck with the other one.
No.
Oh my giddy godfather.
So
I
this.
deserve everything.
Yeah.
No, Ben.
You're unworthy.
So this is actually going to hit you in your 11.
In my 11.
Yeah.
I don't know how many times I've heard that in real life.
Chest. Oh
Hit
my
me
God.
in my 11. That is the chest.
Okay. Do you have any armor in that location?
Yes.
Okay. So how many armor points do you have?
1 armor point.
Okay.
No, 3. I'm sorry. Chest is 3.
3. So just to let you people know, normally a trident would do 1d8, but if you remember at the beginning, I said to you that they were shorter. Okay, so they only actually do 1d6 with their attacks. So I only do 1 point of damage, so I should have, it's come out on a GM roll, but you can have a look at it afterwards. Only do 1 point of damage. So did you say you got protection there?
Yes. 7 points of. Is that correct? Like the hit points, that's the protection's hit points?
No, hit points is how many hit points you've got in that location before it falls off.
Okay, I have 3 armor points and 7 hit
So
points.
3 armor points, that will absorb the 1 point. You keep those 3 armor points all the time. They don't deteriorate or anything like that. So the trident is chucked at you. It actually hits you, probably glanced past your armor and didn't penetrate you through the armor. And it sort of like scatters to the edge beside you. So that is everybody finished in the first round. So we're going back up to the top now for round 2. And we're coming to the, Darfster said, close one. We're coming back to the top. Initiative don't change, but you have now got all your action points back. So we're starting again, and with you, Bartleby, on 19. Bartleby, I've never known you to go first.
Yeah, it's my best roll. I can't do better than a 19.
I know, I was worried, because normally, because you go last, everybody runs out the way of your touch spells, so you have to go running towards them with your hand. Okay, yeah, so you're on 19. What would you like to do?
As the Keeper of the Light, I'm just going to spend my turn moving forward, ideally to get close to Zach and
Yep.
safe.
That's absolutely fine. Ben, what would you like to do? You're next on 17.
Okay. This action economy is tough because moving takes an action.
Yep.
So, and I only have essentially 2 actions for 3 turns because they have 3.
Yeah.
It's like a game of chess.
Yes, and I don't have any ranged. I have the knife thing. Does the knife thing allow me?
If disruption.
Sorry, a lot of. Yes, but the faith is not with me. Oh well, maybe it's renewed now. Maybe I feel that they know.
It does love me.
Are you going to disrupt one?
Silent. I do have throwing knives.
Okay then. So if you want to, your throwing knives will have a reload on it.
Mm-hmm. What does that mean?
So that's how many turns you need to take to reload it. So Mythras is actually, I'm just scrolling down your character sheet at the moment if you're wondering why it's there. Okay then, so you don't actually have a load for your knife. So you can actually throw one and then you probably have them 3 and you can just throw one on one turn, throw on the next turn, throw on the next turn. Missile weapons like bows have a reload time of say 2. So it takes 2 actions to actually reload the arrow before you can fire it. So if you want to chuck knives, then you'll take this action to just leave your hammer that just sort of like stay on the floor and draw your knives.
Ooh.
And then on the next one, the next pass on turn 2, you'll be able to chuck a knife if that's what you wish to do.
I can't waste an action on putting the hammer away and then getting a knife. All right. Yeah, it's gonna have to be disruption.
Okay, cool.
Amriel loves me. Look, not even a scratch. I'm ready. I'm ready to bear the burden. I'm ready, and I'm gonna try.
You go folk magic.
Classic prayer.
Over to that. Yes, the holiest and not self-absorbed. Work right?
That's just giving me the definition of it. So if you press,
that's
right.
Oh,
Yeah.
Amriel's alive.
Okay, so 26 out of 70. Just to let you know, the higher the roll towards your skill, the better. So if it was, this isn't an opposed roll. Oh yes, it is because it's. I can use evade, but that you really want to get as close to your skill as possible all the time. So you're sort of like halfway there. So that's you need to roll for me, please. I think you roll a 1d3. Yeah. Okay, then to send it towards me. I'm not going to resist this because I figure I'm too busy just throwing my tridents and they're about to do something else in a second. So roll hit location, so a d20, and then roll a 1d3. Let's see.
Well,
Just roll a d20. So just.
oh, okay. Oh, d20, sure.
Yeah.
That one.
Yeah, so that's hit him. This is the one down at the bottom, isn't it? 18 has hit him in an right arm. So this would be a good hit if you reduce the hit points because he won't be able to use his arm. So he won't then be able to draw another weapon, etc. So 1d3 worth of damage.
Where do I roll the d3? No, and the roller.
No, there's not. So if you just do /R space 1d3.
Yeah. That is also an option.
Yeah.
Oh, come on.
So you whack him for 1 point of damage in his left arm. You notice that they do have armor there, but it actually goes through his armor and does a small amount of damage to his arm there. And Hazra, we're up to you.
Yes, well, Azra will, as this thing has not responded to his his inquiry will take.
He probably did respond to you by chucking a trident.
Yeah. Or you put those bloody spears down. He's going to walk forward. Oh, that put me into combat. He will walk to the side of the body here, and he'll be menacing. His presence is there. He's got a scimitar that's glowing with the moon of Amriel, and he'll be waiting. He's drawn the line. He has drawn the line.
So you're not
straight line, but he's drawn it.
You're not moving into combat then?
Nope.
No. Okay, cool. Cyrus, you've got your rack spell still up, so you can do some damage for me. 1d8. Do the top one first. Unless you got him in his...
I don't have to do reroll. Look.
It's up to you. You can, if you wish, you can pull the tendrils back and then push them back out again, or you can just keep on the location that you've got.
Just go into main.
Okay, so do the top one first. This is the one that's got a bad leg.
On the abdomen, isn't it?
Oh, sorry, the abdomen. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
So 1d8.
Pressing the buttons.
I keep seeing the one and just thinking it's one. Oh, there you are. 2 points.
There's two. All right.
2 in his
And then
abdomen.
abdomen.
And
the other was left leg, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Good old left leg.
Yeah. It's rolling the dice, it says.
Yep, that's all right. Ooh, nice.
Nice. That's 2 8s you've had on him.
Right.
Yeah, on this guy's leg. Yeah.
Okay, so
I don't like this guy's leg.
No, so this guy needs to make an endurance roll. He's actually working out hard in any case. He's got a major wound, which means that it's super serious, super duper serious. He fails his hard roll. So what happens is that you actually constrict the flame on your rack spell, and you actually push it through his armor and through his actual flesh until the flames actually meet in the middle. And so because it's a major wound, that can lead to amputation, loss of a limb. So I think it'd be a nice idea as Hazra stood there looking threatening, Cyrus, you just slowly constrict the rack spell through his legs. Hazra, you stood there in a ready position. You smell the singeing and the screams of the hobgoblin.
Hazra's not liking this. He looks to the right as this is happening, and he has a shiver through him because he knows, in his mind's eye, he knows that it's Cyrus doing this, but he still has flashbacks from Gulliver and what he with the magic and the teleportation and everything magic does, and how it can destroy you.
So there's the flames meet in the middle, Cyrus, and chops just amputates this monster's leg. I'm just rolling.
On the plus side, he's fine because you cauterize the wound.
And as his leg comes off, he staggers somewhat and goes into the water. There is a leg.
Wrong one.
What's that? Is that the?
No, it's the bottom one. Yeah, bottom one.
Okay then.
Top one was abdomen. Okay.
Yeah. Cool. Sorry. So this guy just hobbles a bit, loses his leg, and falls into water. Well done, Cyrus. Nice, very nice. Zach does nothing. Hobgoblin, this one sees his friend leaving. Sees his friend's leg on the side, manages to resist surrendering by making a critical willpower roll. And he doesn't need to make an evade because he's not in combat. And he just sort of like almost leans to one side in the last minute as he sort of like he almost like flips from his legs and he lands into the water and almost like goes under the water, and you can't see him at all. So that's
Azra he'll see this happen, and he'll see his spear disappear with this water goblin. He'll be, no, not again!
So now, just so you know, because it's the end of the scene, combat is over. Your spells, Bartleby on Hazra, come off. They reduce. Cyrus, your spell stops as they dive over the side, and one's probably sinking and the other one's sort of like swimming away. But you can't see this. You think you probably killed one. Between you, Cyrus and Ben, with your ranged weapons and Hazra's good spear chuck. They get into the water, and then they are. You can't see them anymore. Okay, you don't need to bother about rounds or anything like that at the moment. So tell me, what would you like to do now?
Azra, in his face, the pained expression, and he'll walk back over here, and he'll walk past the back, and he'll get a Bartleby, and he'll say, Bartleby, my spear, it's gone again. Like with the wyvern, when I threw it, and it flew away with my spear stuck inside it.
Just like the wyvern.
I know. I will need to find a blacksmith to make me another of my father's spears.
So as Hazra's saying this to you, Bartleby, you notice that Zach moves straight away and sort of like kneels down by Neville's side as the body sort of like lays on the pier.
It's not normal with Bartleby's knowledge of Lower Lindo for water goblins to be lurching out and
no, as far as you are aware. Roll. Do you have a history roll?
I have history, so I have Lower Lindo.
So what I would like you to do is roll your locale. No, roll your one, whichever one you want to use, and augment it with your locale.
If I could use my lore history with my locale.
Yeah. So the locale bit puts it into Lindo as well.
Works for me. Here is, I get a 10. History is something Bartleby knows fairly well. Here it is.
You as far as you can remember, has been no sightings of water goblins in Lindo. Really and truly, you've sat late at night looking at historical text, looking at images, etc. You think that probably the only monster that has actually been in Lindo ever was probably the one who came through the portal when you were in Count Bastion's abode. There's never been any recorded history of water goblins or larger water goblins attacking anyone. It seems quite unique.
Bartleby looks very distracted while Hazra is talking about his spear, and says to Zach, these things didn't follow you, Lindo, did they?
Zach's quite a way off.
I'll move up to him if I need to. My lantern.
Yeah. So you sort of like move up Cyrus, you're right on the edge of the light.
I'm gonna roll. I'm not roll. I'm gonna move edge of the dock right here.
Yeah.
And I say, I was just getting started. Are we done yet? Are we done already?
You both, Bartleby and Cyrus, you notice that as you get there, Zach, almost he's not weeping or crying or anything. He looks very forlorn. He looks a bit green around the gills as well because his business partner has 3 huge circles in his head where the trident stuck through. And of course, there's a lot of thick red blood, not like flesh wound blood, that thick, deep red stuff, you know, from obviously some kind of artery hit, or an artery's been severed, so it's sort of like being absorbed into the dock, the wood of the dock. And he looks forlorn and almost like green around the ears, and he sort of like seems to be talking out loud, not necessarily to anybody, but just sort of like as if he's trying to comprehend it himself. And he seems to be saying things like, you know, Neville's dead, and who will be the next in charge, and you know, he had so much grand hope for this contract, and it was going really, he feels for his village, and almost like now that this contract cannot be made, what's going to happen to his village? They were looking forward, or the town, sorry, they were looking forward to prosperity, and he seems to be upset that Neville is obviously dead, but he seems to be more concerned about the future. What are the consequences of Neville dying? Cyrus, you can see the leg.
Mm-hmm.
It is on the side there. You can also just by the water's a little bit red round about you. Obviously something was bleeding quite profusely as it went into the water. Probably attract quite a few sharks soon. Ooh. You know. So
yeah, it's lots of fish meat. Now, I'm going to turn around to Zach, and I'll probably wait for Bartleby to ask Zach the question he wanted to.
What was the question?
My question was, like, did you see those along your journey? Did they follow you here to?
He's going to. I'm going to roll Zach's willpower to see whether or not he's actually in a state to torture. His willpower is 34. Yeah, so he seems to be overcome. He seems to almost like be transfixed with Neville's injury, his death, and he seems to almost be in that, you know, that state that the shock is obviously coming in and you impacting on, and you see him shaking a bit and muttering to himself.
Well, you know what I got to do then.
Do it.
As our metaphorical Amriel there, Bartleby is going to move into the prayer of tranquility.
Yeah, cool. Nice.
My 61.
Yeah, and
you do get a willpower if you like.
I don't think he will be resisting at this point. He's not. Well, he's not resisting, but you have to overcome his willpower. So his willpower's 34. As previously stated, he gets a 98, so he actually misses his save in any case. So the calm spell sort of like settles on him in like moonlight glows, and sort of like he sort of like sniffles a bit, and it's only then that he actually notices that Bartleby and Cyrus, you are there, and he sort of like looks at you both, and he stands up and sort of like looks at Neville and then looks at you two and says, what do we do now? What do we do with the body?
Well, that's up to you. He's your friend. We can leave it here until the town guard.
He sort of like says, leave it here for the rats.
We won't leave it here. Don't worry. I don't know what faith your friend had, but I would be more than happy to pay for the family.
I just don't know what his wife and 7 kids are going. No.
Woo!
And Zach sort of like says,
maybe.
Zach nods his head and says, he would like that, but guess this leaves me in charge.
I guess. We do need to continue our job, though. We'll take care of the past, your friend, but we need to continue the job because I feel like he died in continuing the job, and so we need to do it on his honor.
I think he died because of the tridents.
Well,
I feel like I'm
I
talking
think metaphorically the tridents.
I feel like I'm talking like Gulliver.
He died because of the tridents, really, isn't it? No. Let's do this. I'm gonna do an insight. Not insight. What's the
influence?
Roll? Influence. Influence roll to influence him to kind of get his shit together and concentrate at the task at hand.
Okay. Roll your influence. Is it good?
49. Sling. No.
How many times do you? I'll just keep rolling.
It wasn't rolling. So it wasn't rolling. On my
First
screen.
one's nice.
So,
the first.
We'll take your first one first. So 32 out of 49. His willpower, which he uses to resist it, is 34. So if he gets 33 or 34, he's resisted your sweet silver tongue, so to speak.
All right. No, wait. 47. Okay.
Yeah, he fails, and so he sort of like straightens himself up and out, and he sort of like sheaves his weapon, and he says, you are right. I am now in charge of this business. I will check out the warehouse, and then I will need to be taken to the guild merchants tomorrow morning.
We'll protect you. You just have to stay with us and follow our directions.
He says, if you are my protectorates and protectors, then I will do that.
Asher walks over and he'll say, Zach, just a little question. This wood, is it in your warehouse now?
He says, no.
So it's a completely empty warehouse.
Well, I presume so. Maybe we should check.
Did you bring nothing up with you when you came from where you came from Airwood?
We had to. We came to meet with the
guild master.
Yes. We did.
So you brought nothing with you. Came with you and your business associate here. Oh, so now you have gained a promotion with something you wanted. Nice. Maybe you should hire somebody else to work in your expertise. But anyway, yes, could we have a look at the warehouse? Because it seems very strange that you, as a group, have been targeted by these water goblins from what Mr. Bartleby as yes they are. And those men in the in the hairy hobgoblin who are watching you. Why would they be doing that if you're coming here for a simple transaction?
I don't think the attack was coincidental. I think this was purposeful and deliberate.
But it's very strange. Like I say, it's like, where are you getting this wood?
He says,
Is it from a nearby forest or is it from somewhere else?
it's what we trade in. We grow and harvest trees.
Or you grow it yourself? That is.
Well, we don't. It's in the forest.
But you replant and grow. You don't. Are you taking resources or? We've had this recently. The last time we had dealings with the guilds, they were wanting to set up a village, which was they wanted to build it on this magical center which everybody used.
A magical center?
Well,
where is this magical
it was
center?
Like a ley line.
A what?
It's near
a ley line.
Falls.
What? Where was this place?
Well, this is something you would need to talk to us later about. But anyway, where do you get the wood from? You say a forest. Is there anything strange about this forest? Do lots of people go to this forest?
He looks somewhat puzzled. He sort of like says, well, we harvest the wood. So people do go to the forest.
Yes, and workers do, clearly. Maybe I'm not explaining myself properly. Sometimes when we go to an area and put our influence on it, other people or races do not like this, and they tend to push back against what we are trying to do.
I think what my good meaning friends is asking is, are you encroaching on habitat that doesn't belong to you and may belong to, say, goblin creatures that seem to kill your buddy?
He sort of like looks really puzzled, and he says, I did not know those creatures. Is that what you're asking?
Just trying to figure out motivation of why these creatures out of nowhere, who do not show up in this town, from what I understand, all of a sudden come up right when we show up and kill your buddy. I don't think it was coincidence. I think this was definitively on purpose. I think they were trying to stop us and you continue on the merchant's plan.
I bow to Master Cyrus's eloquent words. He can say things a lot better than I can because he does not dance around the trees.
Zach is looking slightly puzzled. He's trying to ascertain. Airwood is a town that has gone for many years with its main trading being timber. It's not something that they sort of like started last week or 2 weeks ago. I mean, they've been doing it for decades. You know, Zach says he's not too sure what you mean by strange in the forest, if there's anything strange by it. He said it's a healthy forest.
Bartleby, is it? Do you know if these creatures can they be mercenaries, or they just I kill stuff and then move away?
Well, in most of the stories I've read, they're generally used in a metaphorical way. They're not truly things that exist. It's more of stories to tell children to scare them. So who knows where they come from? They come from the ground, the water, growing in the house.
I'll bend down, grab the leg that was corroded off, the thing I just killed, and say, I don't think this is in a storybook. I think this is actually in my hand.
I hear a shout. I don't think
Yeah, and Zach, you sort of like go out because you're inside at the moment. You go out and pick up the leg and bring it back in, and you see Zach's the color drain from his face as you bring in a leg that has been cut off or singed off, and he looks very pale and sort of like says, "I think I want to go back to the inn and rest before morning."
All right, that's fine. And I'd throw the leg behind me. Maybe it goes right into the water.
Yeah. Well, you're inside, so it would just hit the wall.
Oh, okay. Sorry. I didn't know where. I didn't realize the map changed. My bad. I
One
thought
thing
we were
to
still in
establish
the
back
dock.
of the head.
All right.
Hasra will just say one last thing to Zach. Say, so this warehouse here, is this where you intend to keep all your wood?
When we bring it here.
That is fine. You have my blessing.
Bartleby, I do have a question. I kind of feel like our friend here might be in danger. Not to scare you or anything, but is there any way maybe a friend could stay at your church or with one of us instead of at the inn by himself?
Certain that there's probably room at the church, but you
Would
are
be.
one of the most battle ready of us, Osiris. Perhaps stay with you.
Hey, Zach, do you like to drink?
Say again, time.
Zach, do you like to drink?
He looks at you and says, "No."
Oh no.
We'll find out.
He sort of like the red. Your order wouldn't accept anybody behind their doors. They're probably the best place for him to stay is either in the Hairy Hobgoblin or at your church with Bartleby and Ben, or he could be brought out. If Hasra, I don't know if he would, but he could come out to your cottage. But
what Hasra would do at a pinch would be to stay with him at the Hairy Hobgoblin, and he would hate every second of it. He wouldn't.
So whereabouts do you want Zach to stay?
I honestly feel like if he stayed at the Hairy Hobgoblin, he might run into the issue of those people who seemed to follow him when we were there.
Well, why don't we all stay at the Hairy Hobgoblin?
I have worship I have to do in the evening.
Hasra would feel better with company.
All right.
And let's face it, Cyrus, you have beer on tap. And then a little bit of bear.
And it's really interesting at this point because Zach's sort of like going, as you're talking, and he sort of,
the eyes, not around the eyes.
He just sort of like after a while he says, "Can you take me back to the Hairy Hobgoblin?" And
yes, we'll take you there.
Okay, so you eventually decide to take him back, and he does say as he leaves, Cyrus, he saw you brought the leg in, and he does request that you remove it from his warehouse, if at all possible. And then you head back to the Hairy Hobgoblin, and you can stay there if you wish, or you can go to your own places. But wherever you are, you probably come back to the Hairy Hobgoblin in the ready to pick Zach up to take him to the guild merchants. And when you arrive at the Hairy Hobgoblin, you notice that he's already left to the guild merchants. He's already set there and is there, and you sort of like Basil sort of like tells you that he's there, and you make your way to the guild merchants headquarters that you know very well because you spent some time in there regarding the guild misters, and you're met at the door by a rather flustered guild merchant, and when you arrive, you sort of like come up, and he sort of like sees you, and he says, you sort of like, hi, morning, and the first thing he says, what on earth have you been telling him? At that point, and that is where we'll leave it tonight for tonight's session, because it's dead on 10 o'clock just as you get back to the guild merchants. Yeah, so they seem to be a little bit fraught about what's being talked about and what's being said to him, but he is safe at the inn. He's not dead or anything like that. So this will be a golden opportunity to pick it up next week, when you can decide what you wish to do and how you can hopefully put things, the contract, the agreement, maybe back on track. So so I hope you have enjoyed tonight's adventure. Hope everybody, thank you so much for coming around out and watching the game. I hope you've enjoyed it as much as I have GMing. And does anybody have any announcements or any self-promotion that they would like to do?
I'm pregnant again.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
You can't tell a bit.
No.
Honestly, I think you're glowing, but and that's just me.
Yeah.
Any other announcements apart from Hasra's pregnancy?
No, I'm
No.
nothing, and something's beeping somewhere, so I have to probably take care of that.
Is
Yeah,
that?
I'm good.
I thought it was in my room. I was just
I think it's
looking
over here.
around.
No,
It's somewhere over here.
It's his fire alarm.
It's just, yeah. Woof.
I have to go tend to a fire.
Yeah. Excellent. So yeah, I will be streaming again tomorrow morning when I'll be doing some Black Desert Online and continuing to do my season character of my Hashashajin and see if I can get to 56 and get my new weapon. And then tomorrow afternoon we will be playing some more Elder Scrolls Online at 2 o'clock till 6 o'clock. And then if I feel up to it tomorrow evening, I might get my healing status out and play some Overwatch on the PS4. So a packed day of streaming for you tomorrow. So do hang around. I hope you've enjoyed this Mythras adventure and role playing. And if you have, then please do check out all the rules videos and the past playing sessions from my YouTube channel. If you just search for InWills, you will find it then. So thank you very much for coming along tonight. Thank you, players, for participating. I hope you all enjoyed it. But I will say all at this point good night, and they will say
A big thank you for Kyle and Stalwart for playing.
yeah.
It was great playing with you guys. Thank you.
Nice to see you.
Yeah. Brilliant. And everybody saying see you in the chat as well. So brilliant.
Also, bye, audience.
Bye, audience. Okay, I will see you all later. Right, bye. I need to do the ending now. This video is sponsored by the Design Mechanism, the makers of Mythras. Mythras is a registered trademark of the Design Mechanism Inc., used with permission. All rights reserved.